is your relationship with the judges?
I have a very good working relationship.
Okay, because, I mean, you know, some judges, are they on time? Do they do what they're supposed to do? Is there anybody running over, you know, them to ensure that they're, you know, doing what they're supposed to do?
That is court administration that handles the judges.
Okay.
Usually, you know, when it comes to us, we're on their time, we're on their schedule. So they call the shots. And you have some that start early and some that start later. And some that'll work through lunch, some that won't. So it's each judge's personality or how they want to work is what really comes down to. But your first question, I have a great working relationship with the judges and judiciary.
Mark?
I've heard, one of the things that concerns me is the number of people in our jails waiting trial. And I've heard the story before that we're waiting on SLED for what has been done working with the state to increase the number of SLED facilities. And the second thing is, if SLED is not responsive, can we go to a private supplier and get lab work done that way?
The way I know the budget is basically just like everything else in government. The state has looked at hiring more, and when I say hiring more, I'm talking about chemists, analysts, and they were doing that for a while until, of course, we had the recession starting in 2008, and they started not hiring anybody, and those are retired, they weren't being replaced. So we haven't caught back up yet. But the chief down there knows it's a problem. This is not just our complaint, this is a statewide complaint. And one of the things that Anderson County has done is we've had in place for a while, at least on narcotics, is we have our own drug lab. And that has been a big plus for us. It handles Anderson and Oconee County narcotics. And Michael Miller's the head chemist out there, does a great job in doing that. So we get our drugs. It's all the other stuff. DNA, they limit what we get, how many samples we can take or send, excuse me, to Columbia. You can only send 5 at a time per case, and it takes forever to get them done. You know, one of the things that Anderson County has also started doing, now let me rephrase it, when I say Anderson County, I'm talking about the sheriff's office, some of the smaller municipal agencies. Greenville now has their own lab that does a certain amount of testing. And firearms they do some DNA, and Anderson County law enforcement here has been using that resource. One of the things is I wish we would go to statewide, of course, it's what people want to pay for, is have more regionalized labs. Instead of just having one central one in Columbia like we do, they need to have an upstate and the low country or a Midlands. You know, something where they just concentrate on a certain amount of the region of the state, those cases, and make it faster. I mean, it is a problem. I mean, there's no doubt it is a problem.
Ms. Burns?
I guess the 2 most high-profile cases in the solicitor's office for the past few years would have to be the Tucker Hips case and the case of the young man in Oconee County who was shot. I'm curious, if you had been the solicitor during the time of those cases, how would you have handled the situations different had you been the solicitor?
Well, on dealing, you're talking about the Tucker Hips case and the Zachary Hammond
Yes.
case. Now, dealing with the Tucker Hips case, and I'm going to tell you just right out, I don't know all the information. I have no insider information. What I have is just like y'all from the papers. So, because those cases were handled out of Oconee County. But that being said, on the Tucker Hips case, the one that's with the Clemson student was found dead in the lake there, right next to the bridge. That case there, no charges or warrants have ever been brought against anybody. So it hasn't reached the point to the solicitor to be able to prosecute. We can't do, the solicitor does not prosecute but unless a warrant has been served on somebody for a criminal act. And right now that has not been done. To my knowledge, that case is still ongoing. They're still looking into it, but nothing has ever come. So that one, you know, as an example, I can't use. But on the Zachary Hammond case, you know, that case there is one that I think the solicitor's office should have conflicted that case out, due to the fact that from the get-go, there's been called in that case that our office had too close of a working relationship with the Seneca Police Department, and that would cause a biased judgment, not be able to give a free judgment, based, not tainted in any shape, way, or form. So, and you're going to have that in a lot of officer-involved shootings, but that case in particular started out from the get-go of saying there's issues that need to be worked out, and that even the victims called for, the Zachary Hammond's family called out for needing it being moved. And because of the close working relationships of those two agencies, it's not on every one. Every officer-involved shooting is not one you have to conflict out. If they're slam dunks, you got a video of the guy's coming at you with a gun and you have to shoot him, that's not something there, that's not a close call. But in that case there was a lot of issues that was brought up by wrongdoings by law enforcement, by wrongdoings of how they controlled it, how they interacted in that drug bust, that, in fact, in that case, the crime never occurred, if you think about it. The guy left before there was any type of narcotics transaction, which initially, my understanding, was the initial call for them to go to. And that never transpired. So there was a lot of problems in that. That case there, because of the past issues dealing with the Seneca Police Department, the Solicitor's Office, and Chief Covington and his sons, and all the problems they've had up there, that's probably one we should have had another agency look at. That one's there really, Solicitor Adams, Mr. Wagner handled that one due to their proximity and handling in Coney County. But from my outsider's view, just like y'all was looking in, I think I would have moved that somewhere else and let them look at it. Or I think the federal government was looking into it. That's another angle that the U.S. Attorney's Office might have handled it. I think there's one over here.
Mary?
Yeah. This thing about paying $3,000 a month over to a Greenville consulting company, it's called it Greenville Political.
It's a political consulting firm, Belco Group, Public Relations.
What would they say would be the purpose for paying that? What's
I guess to advise the solicitor's office on how to handle public issues and put spin on press releases.
public relations?
Yes, ma'am, public relations. I mean, that's just, that's my opinion, that's a expenditure the office doesn't need. I mean, I don't fault them, I mean, they're business. If they get the contract, good for them. But our office should not be using taxpayer dollars, money, to hire a PR firm on the cases that we handle. That, I mean, we can do our own press releases. And that's just money that can be saved. That can be put for something else.
And I have another question unless somebody else. I know that Mr. Burr mentioned about pleading deals. He made the statement, and I just wondered what your comment was about the fact that he said they should offer one deal. If they don't accept that, go to trial. And I think it implies if you keep offering it, maybe until they won't, you offer them what they want. I don't know. I don't know if that's the interpretation, but what do you have to say about that?
What the common knowledge is, this is coming from law enforcement, because they listen to phone calls, they talk to the defendants. And it's common knowledge. You wait for your third plea offer before you plead, because if you keep waiting long enough, you'll go down and keep going down. So if you start at, say, just for a number, 10 years, and maybe your next offer maybe go to 6 years, maybe your next last offer might go to 3 years. If you just wait it out long enough. And if you're at the county detention center, you can see your mom, you can see your girlfriend, you can see whoever. So you get to stay local. And so I agree with Mr. Burr on that one. You make an offer, you make a reasonable offer, and it's that person's decision, the defendant, to decide whether they want to or not. And of course, it does depend on your case. And if the person refuses it, then at that point, time to fish or cut bait. So go to trial. And I agree with that philosophy.
Benny?
Couple things. Numbers were thrown out early when you first got up there. What were those numbers? Something was 23, something was 30 something.
Oh, talking about when I started, during this campaign season, a lot of literature has gone out by Mr. Wagner saying he's tried more cases than anybody since he's been in the county solicitor's office. And I know how many I've done. I can say for a fact, 37 trials. And Mr. Burr, in our forums that we've had in Coney County and here, has FOIA'd the information, the trial dockets for the last 10 years in the Coney County, and Mr. Wagner's only done 23. And numbers have been put out that I've tried more or handled more than 20,000 cases. You think about it, 20,000 cases since 2005. That's not as much. You don't have a high conviction rate if that's the case. You're moving papers. I'd like to know the numbers, actual numbers. No numbers have been spit out on how many is dismissals, how many has been null-crossed, how many has been given time served. And the television commercials have been showing I put more people in prison. Where are the numbers to back that up? That's where I'm going. I know what my numbers are. So that's what I'm saying. I know how many cases I've tried. I know how I've done. And I know the type of cases I've been, my particular area was violent crimes. And that's what I was talking about.
I was wondering, because I was saying thing, I heard these other numbers, a lot higher numbers, and I couldn't understand some of that. And that's one reason I wanted you to clarify what you were saying. And there's another thing, I think, your opponent, his statement. How long have you been in office in Anderson County in charge?
About September. August, 1st of September
Okay.
is when I was elevated to deputy solicitor.
And how long has he been in charge in Oconee County?
Since she took office in 05, January of 2005.
Well, the only thing I'm finding, I like to listen for key words. And key words is, his statement says he wants to make a change.